This is going to be devlog number 5 for the FPS plugin, and I want to go ahead and cover the new features. So first off, we have some leaning. Now that pivots around the spine in 2 different points, and obviously, as it says, allows you to lean around corners, peek them differently, and all that fun stuff. So if someone's right there, you can peek just the upper half of your body, and you'll be good to go. And of course, as with pretty much everything I do, this is replicated. So as you can see here, we have leaning and all that fun stuff. And that's all handled all the same. So if I wanted to, you can lean, you can switch your sights, you can still do your normal reloading, and all that fun stuff. We got that broken reload animation. I don't know if I just forgot to hook it up or what I did. But anyways, on top of that, we also now have weapon sway, movement sway, as well as some idle breathing. So this is all handled through a vector curve. So when you're just sitting idle, you have a very subtle breathing effect. Of course, this all works like this normal. And then when you start walking, this increases a little bit, gets a little more drastic and speeds up. And then when you start sprinting, as you can see, it's movement based. So I also did some work to interpolate the smoothing as you blend out of this. So for example, if you're sprinting and you come to a hard stop like that, that stop is not going to be like a snap. It's going to be a smooth transition. So if you run into something, as you can see, it is just a smooth stop. And same thing goes, that blends in nicely with all the roll features that were added in for the turning and other movement types of sway. So as you can see, we turn, we have the roll and cant and all that fun stuff. That gets added onto it. So if I switch here to full auto as well, we can see the result with the firing. Everything gets added into it and it gets less accurate as you go through and fire. Now, a question that I have for you guys that I'm mostly looking for suggestions with. So currently that sway system, the breathing and all that fun stuff, is just controlled through a single graph. I am contemplating as to whether or not I should make it take into account the weight of the firearm and possibly the ergonomics as well, because the other systems do. So like the rotation, sway, and all that kind of stuff, like the weapon lag, that is all dictated by the weapon's weight and the ergonomics. So if I was to, make it so like if the gun's heavier, I should have more sway, and same thing, a greater sway when moving. So that way when you build a gun out, like, as you know, I have this parts build right here that you can add a handguard, barrel, muzzle device, different optics, and all that fun stuff too, and have it increase the weight and alter the ergonomics and recoil of the firearm. Should that affect your weapon sway at all? Or should I just leave it kind of as is to where just they have a fixed, a fixed sine graph here that controls it? So that's really what I'm kind of contemplating, and I'm not sure what I should really do on it, because if I do decide to leave it, well, that's fine. You can have, people can tune these for each firearm that they have, and they'll get pretty good results that way. However, another step would be if you you have 2 versions of the same firearm. Like, for example, if I show you the difference here, let me open up the character. Here I have the complete, which is the heavy guy. It's got a lot more mass on it. It's got a longer barrel and handguard. And if I switch to the parts build, which I think is still set to high ergo, yes it is. So you have shorter barrel, shorter handguard, and it's set up just to be a overall lighter gun. So if I have this lighter gun, should I have less sway? Or if I build out a heavier gun, should I have more sway? Because obviously with this setup, this one little firearm here could have hundreds of different combinations that affect it. But that also brings into the next question of, will the difference between, this high ergonomic build here, this very light gun, be enough of a difference between something heavier, like this guy, to where it'll actually make a difference? Because that's the part I'm not too sure on. I don't know if it's worth doing, when odds are the player may or may not notice it. So yeah, I'm interested in what your guys' thoughts are. So please, if you have any suggestions or thoughts on it, feel free to comment down below and I will take them into consideration for the future of this plugin. So that is pretty much everything I can think of. Oh yeah, I did do a decent bit of cleaning up for like the animation instance for the anim graph and all that kind of stuff. I layered everything out. Then you have all this fun stuff all kind of sectioned off. This will get cleaner because I plan on rewriting how I set up the lag and kind of setting everything up into you're only going to be doing this once essentially. However, I need to go through and make sure everything that I do also works for the third person because this one's a little bit more complicated and certain things have to be done in a certain order, but we'll see. So yeah, like I said, some cleaning up has been done and there will be more to come. Try to keep everything nice and neat. So hopefully it'll be just a plug and play into most existing systems if you already have one, or it'll be very, very easy to set up if you don't already have a system, well, set up. So that's the main goal of this plugin. Anyhow, that's going to be all for this video. Again, I'd like to hear your suggestions if you have any, and yeah, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.